because of you, you literally just made my family so happy to be able to get that call to say that Kehlani is safe.
Tonight, a story you only see here on 12 News. The family of a 2-year-old kidnapped from her West Valley home is thanking one of the people who helped rescue her. Thank you for joining us for 12 News. I'm Troy Hayden. 2-year-old Kehlani Rogers is back home safe. She was reported missing for 24 hours from Avondale. Police say she was taken by a 23-year-old woman who's now been arrested and charged. 12 News journalist Chase Golightly joins us live outside the Avondale Police Department. And I can only imagine, Chase, how relieved this family was when they were able to get their little girl back.
Troy, absolutely. I mean, it was a terrifying 24 hours for them. According to arrest documents, the suspect who kidnapped Kehlani was someone that the family was trying to help. Now, since the two-year-old has been found safe, the family has asked us not to share any more photos of her, asking for a little sense of privacy. But at the same time, they did want to speak to us tonight to thank everyone who helped search for Kehlani, especially those who helped save her.
Kehlani is doing fantastic. She's still her same bubbly self.
Talia Banks, the aunt of Kehlani Rogers, says since the 2-year-old has been back with them, they haven't let go.
All we can do is just keep holding on to her, even though we may be doing it a little too much, but yeah, we're just taking all the time we can with her.
It was early Saturday morning when she was reported missing. According to arrest documents, the Rogers family said Kehlani was kidnapped by a random woman who they brought into their home to help. That same day, an Amber Alert was sent all over, seen by Ralph Vollmert and other workers at Camelback Moving. On Sunday morning, they had stopped at this QT gas station before their shift, when a security guard thought he recognized Kehlani inside.
As I showed him the Amber Alert photo, he's like, that's her, that's her. He's like, I swear that's the child. She just ran past me.
Watching the suspect, later identified as 23-year-old Marina Noriega, and the toddler get into the back of this truck. That's when they decided to take action.
We're going to block them in. We're not going to let them leave. The security guard inside the store was on the phone with the police department. And luckily, it didn't take them long to respond at all.
A swarm of officers arrived minutes later and arrested Noriega and rescued Kehlani.
To be able to get that call to say that Kehlani is safe and we can, pick her up and, be around her. That's one of the greatest blessings we can have of all time.
Banks and her family eternally thankful to Vollmert and his crew for their quick thinking, able to thank him herself.
Gave me and my family peace, and I am so grateful that you guys acted without you just was quick with it. You didn't have any reason to think, it was no hesitation. And for that, I am forever grateful, me and my family.
I'm glad I can be part of it. All of us guys that were in the video, we're all fathers. We all have children ourselves. So there was no hesitation. We just wanted to do what we could to get her home.
Now, the Avondale Police Department announced today that they will be honoring that moving crew as well as the security team at the gas station this Thursday in a special ceremony to thank them for helping bring Kehlani back home. We're live in Avondale tonight. Chase Golightly, 12 News.
Yeah, that security guard for noticing the girl and that team for blocking them in. That is a great story, Chase. Thank you for that. Still developing tonight, federal agents investigating an apparent shooting near 67th Avenue in Van Buren. Phoenix police tell us the Drug Enforcement Agency is investigating. But roughly 12 hours after our crews first arrived at the scene, we still haven't heard any information from the DEA. You can see it looks like undercover vehicles blocked in that red truck there. But our cameras captured bullet holes in the front of the windshield of the blue Jeep. It's not clear if anybody was injured. We'll have updates on 12news.com as soon as we learn more. A man is killed and a Phoenix officer is hurt after a shooting last night. This is about 8:15. The man pointed a gun at his family and then ran off towards Broadway and 19th Avenue. There was then a struggle with an officer and the gun went off and both of them were shot. The man died. The officer was released from the hospital with a shoulder injury. Tonight, the search for Nancy Guthrie is just hours away from entering 25th day here. This morning, Savannah Guthrie announced her family is offering a reward of up to $1 million for the recovery of her mother. Savannah also announcing the family plans to donate $500,000 to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. But here we are all these days later with no major leads. When does the FBI start to pull back from this case? 12 News journalist Tiani Jadalang joins us now in studio with more on this. Tiani?
Troy, 3 weeks later, Savannah Guthrie continues to release these heart-wrenching videos on her social media platforms, asking people to keep her mother in their prayers. Despite the possibility of her mother being gone, she has hope that Nancy Guthrie can be brought back home.
We also know that she may be lost. She may already be gone. She may have already gone home to the Lord that she loves.
That's part of the latest social media post released by Savannah Guthrie Tuesday morning, announcing up to a $1 million reward for the recovery of her 84-year-old mother, Nancy Guthrie. The FBI has been assisting the Pima County Sheriff's Department for over 3 weeks now, and a former FBI agent tells me, with this new reward, we can expect all eyes within the organization to remain on this case.
As long as there's leads to pursue, this is going to remain a priority because there's a person's life that can be in jeopardy. The FBI will continue working it to the full extent.
Retired FBI Special Agent John Iannarelli says hundreds of bodies can be put into this investigation at any time. And when I asked when agents could possibly pull back, this is what he had to say.
If leads were to diminish and there's not as much to pursue from the investigation standpoint, agents may go back to their normal duties. But the first time that new leads or new information appears, generating other investigation to follow, there'll be a surge in the resources once again.
NBC News reports that one of the images released by the FBI was captured before February 10th, citing 2 law enforcement sources familiar with the investigation. However, the Pima County Sheriff's Department says that is just speculative. And between those images and the new reward, Iannarelli says there could be a possibility someone comes forward.
With the latest reward, there's a good chance that somebody who's been on the fence thinks they might know who the person is. Hopefully this reward will push them off that fence and they'll want to pick up the phone, call the FBI, call the Sheriff's Department. If it turns out to be nothing, so be it. But somebody out there might just have that piece of information that can solve this case.
Now, at this time, authorities have not identified a suspect in this case. Experts 12 News spoke to say it's the job of the FBI and law enforcement to remain optimistic. Agents will continue to work with the Sheriff's Department until there is no reason to believe Nancy Guthrie can't be recovered. Live in studio, I'm Tiani Jadling, 12 News.
Yeah, good information there. Thank you, Tiani. An Arizona lawmaker says he's tired of smelling his neighbors smoking marijuana at his house. So now he's proposing 2 different pieces of legislation aiming to punish anybody responsible for emitting excessive amounts of marijuana smoke in a neighborhood. 12 News journalist Gabriela Becerra live in studio explaining these bills. And yeah, it's a pungent smell, Gabby.
It is. And Arizona voters legalized marijuana 5 years ago, allowing people to smoke in their own homes and backyards. But now a Republican lawmaker wants to cite smokers whose cannabis odor drifts onto other properties.
It has been a bit of a problem in my neighborhood to where I've had to have my kids come inside.
There's an odor Republican Senator J.D. Mesnar doesn't want his kids inhaling.
I don't want to even have the drug conversation with my 4-year-old who can smell. Like, what's that smell?
That's why he introduced legislation that aims to criminalize excessive marijuana smoke and odor coming from other homes.
It's basically saying what you do in your private property is your business, but the moment there's such a strong odor or smoke that's affecting your neighbors and down the street, then it's no longer just your business.
Anyone who smells marijuana wafting from a neighbor's property into their own can call the police, and the offender would be cited for criminal nuisance, a misdemeanor.
Enforceability be a challenge. You have to call the police, and as with any sort of nuisance, probably it's going to be more a habitual situation where you're not responding when they've engaged with you that would rise to that higher level.
Opponents of the bill argue voters already shot this down in 2020.
Back when Prop 207 was passed, part of what the Arizona voters agreed upon was that you can't use the odor of burnt marijuana as probable cause for any crime anymore.
Julie Gunnagle, the state director of NORML, the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws, says the wording of the bill is imprecise and opens the door for wrongful accusations.
How do you quantify smell at all? How do you preserve smell? How do you prove your innocence in a case like this?
And Mesnard introduced 2 identical pieces of legislation, one that would ultimately go to the governor's desk and the other that would let voters decide in November. Both bills are now waiting a vote from the full state Senate. Troy?
Yeah, it does seem like it might be tough to enforce, right? I mean, say you smell something in your yard, you'd have to call police and have them go out there and hope the smell's still out there.
And that's something Mesnard admits could be a challenge and something that will remain to be seen if this bill does pass.
All right.